Welcome back to What Would You Ask podcast. My next guest, well, first of all, I used to be a hockey player in the NHL, Carolina Hurricanes, a bunch of other teams, but we're not here to talk about neutralized traps or why the Bruins are overrated or anything like that. We're here to talk about Amazing Race and what this guy did with his brother, right? It's like just, 5 continents, I think I heard, 10 or 12 countries, 35,000 miles. It's not like a marathon or a jog around the block. These guys had to get to it, and all the stuff they went through, you amazing fans know about it. I watched it a little bit, and then we started doing the series, and I realized I could never do it. So I got a lot of respect and props for this guy. Battaglia, welcome to What Would You Ask podcast.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. We're going to start off with quick hitters. These are questions right from our members. And let's get started. Billy from Atlanta says, when did you first meet the contestants? Was it on the bridge? No, it wasn't on the bridge. And was that awkward at first?
I think we saw some of them. I don't know if we necessarily met them, but we saw some during the interview process. And I guess the actual meeting was probably that cheesy little run we did up the hill, like the introduction kind of thing that kind of, gives us a background of where we're coming from and who we are and stuff like that. It's probably the first time we actually spoke to the other teams.
So there's no rules kind of like deal. I mean, this is a game show, right? You're probably signing your life away to top secret, and you can't talk to anybody ever about this right? You did all that stuff previous?
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. Stephen from Danbury, Connecticut says, how much does the production of the show slow down you guys while you're running around out there?
Obviously it probably depends on the team. For us, it kind of slowed us down. We were, somewhat athletic, I like to think, and they're lugging around probably as far as the camera guy and audio guys, they're lugging around. I think they were telling us it was close to 60 or 70 pounds. So you have to wait for them. You can't outrun them, too far. You gotta be within shot, otherwise there's no show. So
April Gould
it's a little frustrating at times, but everybody's got to deal with it. Whether you're a slow team or a fast team, you all got to deal with it.
And April was telling me that you guys have to figure out if you're traveling by cab or taxi or whatever, you have to figure out room for them, right? You got to make sure you got enough room to get those guys.
If there's 2 tickets on a plane for, me and my brother, and there's not 2 for the camera and audio, we can't take that flight. So it's kind of tough. And the same thing with a car. Like, we couldn't get like one of them little rickshaw things if we couldn't fit the camera and audio guy in there. So it's more thinking about the 4 of you than it is thinking about just the 2 of you.
Yeah, that's cool. Mikey from Brooklyn. Mikey puts a Y on it. I like it. He doesn't stick right with it. He doesn't go Michael. He doesn't say Mike. It's Mikey from Brooklyn. Mikey, hey, how you doing, buddy? He asks, Bates, what are a couple attributes you have to win Amazing Race?
Well, I'll tell you one that my brother and I didn't have that kind of hurt us. I found that like watching earlier seasons that people can be really aggressive with like ticketing and butting in front of lines and just kind of being rude, I suppose. That's just not part of who we are. It was tough for us to really like get in there and like, bust by people. And that was something that kind of slowed us down at times, I think. We're kind of soft-spoken kind of thing like that. And I think that hurt us a little bit, but in the end, it all worked out. So
you could see that in I don't remember, you guys were signing a sheet, a list, and like there was a line of you guys, and you could see you and then Anthony's arm, and you guys are just waiting there. You're cool, but somebody signed on the wrong line or didn't sign both people, and you were able to go over the top of them, but you didn't. There's no aggression there. It was just.
Well, I would feel really badly, even though we are in a competition of like stepping in front of like the roller derby girls or the country girls. Like I just feel like an idiot, like a jerk, and I should be progressive and everything, but I just thought it would be rude to do that. And like I said, it hurt us at times, but what can you do?
I got to give you a Canes alert. This is a hockey question. We did a lot.
I probably know more about that than I do.
I'm not sure why we're asking this. Richie from King of Prussia. Oh, it's a Philly question. That's why I didn't want to hear about Brindamore. What was it like playing with Rod Brindamore on the BBC line? You've let that in here for Bates, like he wants to talk about that. Well, he was on the line with Cole and
he was always happy about playing with me, from what I recall.
That's funny.
No, it was great. I mean, a guy like that. I mean, you hope to play with a guy like that. It's fun playing against him as well, and that's just part of the game.
Yeah, not a side story. I lived in Cary for 8 years and had the opportunity to watch when the Whalers moved down. I got funny story, Bates. You won't think it's funny, but I bought season tickets not knowing that they were going to play their games in Greensboro, which I was like,
yeah, I was on the team.
You were there, yeah.
The first 2 years we had to play in Greensboro. It was a nightmare. But
like, what in the hell?
Yeah.
My wife was going. She wasn't my wife at the time. She was my girlfriend. She's like, I don't want to go any more hockey games. It takes forever to get there. We can't even have.
We didn't want to go to anymore. I mean, 41 times a season we had to drive out there.
Oh,
and we all lived in Raleigh.
That's brutal. But it was fun. 2002 was it the Stanley Cup run? That was cool. That was
when I was on the team, and then they won in 06 after they traded me.
Yeah,
a bunch of jerks, but I was happy to be here when I was.
Do you still have the pub, Lucky Bees?
Yep. Still got it. We're not open, of course, but since we don't have food, but we're planning on opening when it's time.
I remember going down there with Jim Blanco and a couple guys and having a good time. So let's get on to the questions. Renee from Orange County, California. When did you guys realize you actually had a shot to win this thing?
I think we always, thought we had a shot. I mean, we were, physically we were going to be better than anybody out there. Like I said, it was the little nitty things that we figured out once we watched like a bunch of the past seasons on how to get flights and, go to a travel agent and stuff like that. That was the tough stuff for us. And, the challenges were pretty easy for the most part. There were some tricky ones here and there, but I think throughout, once we won a couple legs, we thought, wow, it's early, but, I think we're going to do pretty well at this.
Mark from New Haven, Connecticut says, you guys seem to have a great relationship with Caroline and Jen. Ever see them again after the show?
Anthony did. He ended up playing that year. I retired after the show, and he played that year, and he played in somewhere near Texas. And they came out and saw him, and they sang the anthem at one of his games.
Oh, that's cool.
I thought that was pretty cool. And we've chatted on Facebook and do all that kind of stuff, but I haven't seen them in person since the show.
So the folks want to take the fans want to take you kind of through the journey. The next questions are, how did it all begin? Then we'll talk a little bit about the challenges, and then we'll close this thing up. So that's the first question is Lindsay wants to know from Summit, New Jersey, what motivated you to apply? Were you a fan of the show? Did you just wanted the challenge?
I did watch the show a bit. No, I wasn't like a diehard. Like I said, we had to go, once we found out we were on the show, we had to really watch some old episodes and see what the deal was. And that was huge. If we didn't do that, we'd have been done first round probably. But we actually got a call from the Carolina Hurricanes, and they asked me if I'd be interested in doing the show, and I was like, well, where's that coming from? And I guess the show had asked the NHL, and the NHL asked all the teams, and so one of the guys from the Hurricanes called, or I think it was an email, and he just said, hey, would you have any interest in going on the Amazing Race? And I was like, I think I let it go a couple of days, and I was like, I don't know. I called my brother, and I was like, he lives right in town, and I said, hey, I got this email. I want to go on the Amazing Race. And I was like, you don't want to do that, do you? And he's like, hell yeah, I want to do that. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. So I emailed them back, and they put us in touch with which was nice because putting together a video for this, I would have no idea. I could barely get on this podcast. But they put us in contact with the Hurricanes Canes Vision guy, and he helped us put the video together. And I mean, it was beautiful. Like, it was probably one of the best ones out there. And sent it in, and just kind of went forward from there.
Stacy from Framingham, Mass. asks, is there any way to prepare for the Amazing Race?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, honestly, we were very unprepared when we first found out that there was a possibility of going on. I mean, you definitely got to be, you don't have to be, but it definitely helps to be in good shape, be able to run, because there is a lot of running. You got to be able to swim. We found out in our season.
Yes.
If you can't, you're probably going to be done.
The funniest part of the show is when I forgot there's two guys' names that just couldn't swim.
Yeah.
Just go down. Yeah, I'm not going down. He's like, I'll go. Give me a second. And he's like,
I mean, you had to know it was coming. You're going to be in heights. You're going to be in water. You're going to be cold. God. You're going to be in hot.
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably going to eat something gross. And if you can't do any of those things, you're going to have a real hard time.
Oof.
So, and other than that, I would say watching previous seasons was the biggest thing that helped us. I mean, without that, like I said, we'd have been done.
A lot of questions are around pit stops and sleep and eating. We don't see a lot of that. We don't see a lot of you guys, after each leg, there is a break? Is that what it is? Help us understand that.
There can be, but not always. I would say usually there is a pit stop. There is some time. They may put us up in a hotel, which was huge for us because, you don't get any money. You don't have no credit cards, stuff like that. You literally have a passport and that's it. And so you don't eat, you don't spend any money because you get like $20 here or $5 there just for a taxi or whatever. So you don't want to spend it on food.
Right.
So like I get on an airplane and I'm asking the guy next to me, I'm like, hey, you going to finish that? And people not associated with us, just random. I mean, I'm shoving pieces of bread in my bag. Like I lost 20 pounds.
Wow.
The first probably 2 weeks. I mean, my clothes didn't fit. Like it was, but then, they would put us up in a hotel and then they would feed us during that part, but that didn't always happen. So, we got there and it was a buffet and I mean, we went to town, like just gorging ourselves because we didn't know when next time was we were going to eat.
Mackenzie from, I can't even read that. Mackenzie from somewhere in Maine. She wants to know, where do the eliminated contestants go? Racers go, she says. They come back, right? They're back at the end.
What's that?
They came back at the end. They're there when you run in. You guys run in.
So yeah, they it's all different for each season, I believe.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I haven't really talked to any other people from the other seasons, but for us, they went to, I believe it was Thailand or something.
Oh, okay.
And
it's not
so
bad.
they got
a little vacation.
So nobody knows who won. So they got to be sequestered till the very end of whether you're knocked out the first week or not.
A bunch of questions about challenges that we're going to touch base on, but I want to get your thoughts on two of the groups that were there. John and Jessica, you and Anthony had some of the funniest lines about those two during the show. And just, I think you were imitating John a little bit. It was pretty funny. And, but how does he not use the express pass? I mean,
the guy, I honestly, he was of anybody in the group. I don't really not have too many bad things to say, but that guy was something else, man. I honestly, he's in his own world. Like, I don't know what his deal was. I mean, he thought he was the sneaky, like, I don't know. And then at the end, when he doesn't use it, and then he tells Phil, oh, well, you know what? I didn't really need the $1 million anyway. You know what? I guarantee a billionaire would say, you know what? I'll take the $1 million.
Absolutely. Who says that?
An idiot who doesn't use the express pass. That's who says that. That's exactly who says that.
That's right. You're right.
Never been done in the show ever. And he's like, oh, no big deal. No big deal.
Yeah. You're number one on YouTube, you idiot. Man. And Jessica was begging him, John, shouldn't we use it now? And he's like, no, we're good. And then the other two I want to touch on were David and Connor. I mean, that was the heartstring. That was the Lifetime movie kind of thing on there. But it was really inspirational. I mean, these two guys both had cancer. You definitely love each other. Best friends, it looks like anyway to us, the viewers. And then this guy has to go and tour his Achilles up. And I mean, was it as courageous as he looked? He had a boot on and he's kind of running around a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, once it happened, I mean, it was something. I'm not going to lie to you. I wasn't a huge fan of theirs either. Yeah. And a lot of people might not like that because, they all feel they saw what you saw. And, but I mean, behind the scenes, it was a little different. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, they don't get me wrong. The guy did a great job hanging in there while he could. But I mean, some of the comments they've made while they were there, I mean, I can think of one. And I mean, it was a joke, but at the same time, we're all sitting there and they come rolling up and they're like, he's torn his Achilles. They don't know how much farther he's going to be able to go. And so we get up to we're all sitting in the airport waiting for a flight. And
I
they're
remember
like,
this.
yeah, so we're probably going to use Express Pass, or I forget what the whole story was. And then he goes, yeah, it's like pretty much our only way now is if your guy's plane crashes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who says that, joking or not, right before people are getting on a plane? Like, what? I was shocked. I was like, these guys are the Utah guys that are supposed to be the nice, and then they say something like that. Like, you're not even like thinking about something like that. So
That is so
I
true.
honestly, after that, my stomach kind of turned about those two too. So I mean, I got along with, I would say, most people on that show, but between those four, it was a struggle bus.
Mona and Beth seem pretty cool. They're the rollerbladers, right? Or
They were probably one of the best teams, if not, I mean, they were great.
Yeah.
I had nothing but respect for them. They raced hard, and I feel like they should have got awarded more than they did, but they were a good team.
Just a couple of the challenges I want to cover. We got a bunch of questions on these. People loved you guys water skiing and seeing all the alligators on the side.
It love laughing at me, I'm sure, but
I mean, that was. Or did you see him? They saw him on the side of the ravine or river or whatever. You saw him.
That wasn't like a stock shot. Like, there was an alligator or a crocodile, like maybe 50 yards once we got back on the boat, and they're like, "Oh, there's one right there," and I was like, "Wow!" I was like, "That they weren't joking."
Oh man, that's cool. I mean,
and another story about that was I know before we go into shooting, they tell you, like, you go to like South America or Amazon, they're like, don't pee in the water, and because it can get like parasites and stuff like that. And the first thing I did when we get in Africa was jump in that water, and I was just like, oh man, I gotta go. And then I'm thinking, holy shit. Am I going to the hospital next? Like, I was like, what did I just do? And they're like, no, that's not here. That's like in South America or something.
Oh God.
But I scared myself a little bit there.
The driving in the mud in that little car seemed really cool, by the way. I mean, I know you had to do it by 83 seconds or whatever it was, but that was pretty cool, wasn't it? Was it as cool to do, or?
Yeah, that was really cool. It was tough because it was so slippery. There was no traction. You couldn't like get it in the second or third. I mean, you could get it in the second, but third, it was just going to throw you off track. So it was tough. And my brother had driven stick for years, and we both like valeted cars in like high school. So we knew how to drive stick. Him a little better than me, but it was fun. Like, that was some of the more, that and the ATVs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was good stuff.
Yeah. The human chess game. Somebody went up there, and I don't remember. My recollection is it was two females, but it wasn't the two blondes, and it wasn't Beth and Mona. It was somebody else. I don't know who else it was. Maybe it was the guy and the girl. They didn't know what to do. They didn't have no idea. Oh no, it was the other two Asian. Yeah, the human chess thing. They just were looking around.
They had like a weird game play.
Yeah. How did you figure out? Did you know what to do, or did you just pick on it? Like, wait, let's.
No, I think I mean, it was a while ago now, but I think we realized that he memorized two of the pictures, and I memorized two, and I think we just were able to remember to bring that thing over to the other thing, and
because you knocked it out pretty quick. That was not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we did pretty well on those, even like the memory and stuff like that. Yeah. Our dumb hockey players that can't remember anything, stuff like that, hitting the head. But
too many pucks. Yeah.
I mean, I think we still did pretty good on the mental ones. The physical ones mostly were pretty easy for us. But even the other ones, it was rare that we struggled.
And then the other one we got questions about was, how did you? The guy, the pitcher, the guy that welcomed you guys, it was on the surfboard that you had to find, which was, I think, John's downfall. I think that's what got him out of the thing.
It was that leg. I can't. That must have been it.
Yeah, he couldn't find the right surfboard, and they kind of kept telling him to go back. That was funny. But was that what it was? It was that guy. And did you guys get yours? I don't remember. You were the one getting it, weren't you doing the surfboard?
Yeah, it was. You know what? And that was the thing about watching the previous seasons. That we knew that you need to like write this stuff down.
Yeah.
Like, we took notes of who checked us in where, who finished first, who finished last, and it was tough to remember too, or find out, because you're not allowed to talk to the groups until the next leg starts. So you don't really know where, the roller girls finished in that leg or something like that. So it was little details like that were huge when it came to like the mental obstacles.
Darren from Atlanta, Georgia. He wanted to know, did you take any mental notes on any places you went and say, I really want to come back here?
Uh, I'll tell you what. There was one place I never thought I would really go, and we went there, Botswana, and it was pretty awesome. I mean, we saw like legit elephants that like made circus elephants look like pipsqueaks, and like we were out in the bush, like there was animals everywhere. We saw well, we didn't see any lions, but they told us that we stayed in these big tents at one of the pit stops, like big tents, and they gave us a pot. If you had to go to the bathroom, they said, don't leave the tent at night. And I'm like, what's going to stop these things from coming in? This canvas over here?
Yeah.
But I guess they stay away from the tents if they're big enough. But yeah, it was pretty intense, but it was really cool to be somewhere like that. I'd never been before.
That's when the mic comes off and it's just like, look, if I'm going to take a dump in a pot and you don't want me to leave the tent, I am not staying.
I wondered that, if they actually, that when you do go to the bathroom, I know they got the audio on. I'm wondering if they're like, oh, okay, they're going in there. We can shut it off now.
That's funny. Ashley from Raleigh wants to know, you guys won a bunch of trips. Did you go on them?
No, actually.
Uh-oh.
So we won 3 trips, and we donated 2 of them to the cancer Jimmy V Foundation.
Oh, cool. That's cool. Yep.
And but the 2 trips were, or the trips were like for 2 people, and we're both single guys, and we're like, we're not going to go on a trip for 2 to Thailand and get our couples massage and stuff like that. So we're like, you know what? Might as well do something good with them, and so we ended up not using them.
Got it. So let's talk about when it's over. So we know it's a game show, and you got to sign your life away. You're already a celebrity in Raleigh, so it's everybody knows you. I know that from being there. But nobody knows.
I see.
What'd you say?
You use that term celebrity loosely, I see.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying. But you come back, and now they probably do a little bit of the promotion for the season, right? And they say, boom, look who's on Amazing Race, right? Before the show even starts, do you instantly get phone calls and texts from me? What the hell are you doing on this show?
Yeah, no, it blew up pretty fast. And, I figured I'd take advantage of it with the bar. We had viewing parties every Sunday when it was on. But a lot of people started calling, but we weren't allowed to do any interviews unless they were okayed by the show. So I think before the show actually started, there might have been a handful, like under 5.
Yeah.
And they were on the phone at all times to make sure we didn't spill anything on accident. And it was pretty strict.
And we'll wrap it up now. That's interesting. I could just picture having the viewing parties, and then they're thinking, man, you guys might win this. They're halfway through it, and they're like, you guys are going to win this whole thing. That's
well, and I didn't feel like I was giving anything away, because we talked to some of the other teams, and they were doing the same thing at some of their friends' bars and stuff like that. So it wasn't like we were like, oh, we're having these parties because we won.
Right.
It was a common thing.
That's cool. Is there any misconceptions about American Race that you knew going in, or you think since you've heard that people need to know about?
No, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, outside of the having to wait for the camera and crew, like, cause you watch the show. When I was watching, I was like, why aren't they running? Like, go! Like, what are you doing? Yeah. And then you get on the show and you realize you have to wait for them. Like, it's not like there's 50 camera guys that can just take a break and do this part of the leg and stuff like that. So that was the only thing that really kind of sticks out that I didn't think that you would notice on TV.
I just got a note from my crack staff that says, ask the question about the girls getting stopped by the police. Did it stop the show at all? So they got pulled over. You know that, right?
Yeah,
and I think they had to go to the police station to pay. Yeah, a couple of them did. Right.
Yeah, and they didn't have the right currency, so they had but they weren't allowed to leave the station. That was pretty lucky. They had some guy, some rando, which I'm sure if it was me and my brother that needed the help, the guy'd be like, beat it. But it was the 2 beautiful country girls, and they're like, oh yeah, I'll help these 2 out for sure. So
it didn't slow anything down.
That was a big deal.
They didn't stop the game during that time. It just
no, they just had to make it up.
Final question. Would you return and do the Amazing Race again? Do they have a winners group? Are you going to come back? Anything in the plans? I'm sure you couldn't tell me if there was, but
me and my brother have thought about that, and I don't believe they've ever had winners back, have they? I don't know.
I don't think so. Not that I've seen.
But it would be hard for me because I'm not gonna lie to you. During the show, and I hadn't even told my brother. My son was on the way. He was, a couple months in.
Wow, awesome! Congratulations!
I didn't mention it on the show. I told him the last day when we won, and he's now 7. But as far as doing the show again, I would have a really hard time because it takes almost a month.
Wow,
and I'd have a real hard time being away from my son for a month.
Yeah,
so
that's a deal breaker.
I told my brother that, and he's like, "Come on!" And I was like, "Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there." But yeah, that'd be hard for me.
Cool. Well, listen, Bates, we really appreciate your time. It's really good first of all, it's good to see you, and it's good to review the Amazing Race experience because that was pretty cool to watch. So thanks for joining the show. We really appreciate your time.
It was fun to reminisce.
Yeah. Thanks for your time, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
All right, take care.